What's that?
Cody's ready to go at 6:30, so I think he's ready.
I have 6:30.
I do too. Apple time. I'd like to call to order the Bradford Exempted Village Board of Education June 20th meeting. If we could stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Swab.
Here.
Mrs. Brewer. Mr. Biesecker.
Here.
Mr. Manuel.
Here.
Mrs. Hill. Here.
Welcome everyone this evening and remind everyone online that there is a copy of the agenda for reference for tonight's meeting. And first item is kind of reviewing any additions or deletions to our printed agenda. Did you guys find anything we needed addressed?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Love it. Roll call for approval.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mrs. Brewer is absent. Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Next item is approving the minutes of the record retention meeting and approval of the minutes of the regular meeting. A motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? If not, roll call for approval.
Mr. Manuel.
Yes.
Mrs. Hill.
Yes.
Dr. Swab.
Yes.
Mr. Biesecker.
Yes.
Next is our administrative reports. Mrs. Brewer is out at an event. And so we'll go to Mr. First, giving us the superintendent's update.
I have just a few things here to report. First of all, I'm very happy that we had, every summer, we have open enrollments to sign for those students that are coming in from different districts. Typically, we'll have 60 applications that we will sign and have them come into our district. Last year, we had 68 applications. In fact, I think towards the end, we had a couple late stragglers where we might have hit 70-ish. This last week, I signed 79 applications for students to come into our district. Most of them, in fact, I talked to a couple of the parents. They like what we're doing here in the district. One of the parents says, you guys are doing the right things here at Bradford. So I'm liking what we're hearing. I like what we're seeing out there in the public, and I think they're starting to recognize Bradford as a positive place to be. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm hoping that trend continues and we get even more open enrollments over the next few years. If you haven't seen them, we had a grant that Skip planted 38 trees around the district. We've got them all around the baseball diamonds, around the new football area and the track. It looks absolutely amazing. They're not huge yet. They're still 6-ish feet high, but those 38 trees obviously will look great in the next few years and continue to grow and give us a lot of shade. Update on the project out here. Our fence guys showed up today. They've already set all the corner posts that will be supported around the 6-foot fence around the outside perimeter of the track. So I would guess that's going to be done probably in the next week. And then they also did the windows in the press box. So the exterior part of the press box is completely done, except for the steps leading up to it, which makes electrical and interior kind of a problem until we get those steps in. But we're pushing that as fast as we can to make sure we get them, hopefully before football season. But we're also knowing that, things will move on even if we don't have them here. So things are moving out there pretty well. The grass is growing. We're hoping we get some fertilizer on there in the next week so it gets a little more uniform and a little more full. But looking at things, the punch list for the track guys were out today. Punch list for the bleachers is supposed to be done tomorrow. The scoreboard, we've got the header in. It's ready to go up as soon as the paint job is done for the ad panels underneath, so we only take the crane out there one time. And let's move it along. So And you'll see today, we've got an item on the agenda to interview architects / whomever to start on the building project. So that'll be the next step, obviously. We've already been talking to somebody kind of about what the price range is going to be. He's supposed to get back to us in the next couple of weeks to tell us really where we are with that and how affordable a second building will be. So with that, that concludes my report unless anyone's got questions.
Questions?
Did you have anything you wanted to report on tonight? I don't want to.
No, I'm here in case there are questions about the big purchases. Obviously, you guys are fully aware we had spring sports are done. We had very successful spring baseball. We're putting a boys banner up in the gym for the first time in 20 years, which is super exciting. So that's been ordered. Hopefully it'll be here soon. It'll definitely be here before school starts. And then we sent 2 runners to the regional track meet this year, which is, we haven't done that in a couple of years, so that was nice too. So
In 3 minutes.
yes, the 3 different events. So very exciting things. So it's a good spring.
And Mrs. Server, if you can give us your treasure update.
Okay, I passed out to you tonight just a very brief overview of things in the 5-year forecast. We talked about the 5-year forecast last meeting, and this is strictly an update from where we were back in November. So just correcting the numbers, getting us a little closer. And it's still been quite interesting because the numbers that I have on here, I won't know until we get close to the end of the year what our transfers and advances are truly going to be, because we just have a lot going on with grants. I have to make sure that the funds are in a positive balance, which makes those numbers pretty fluid for the next few weeks. But still coming up with a positive number. It's a declining number, and part of that, I think, will be corrected as we move into our transportation changes, because that will eliminate some expense that we have with the buses. Last year, our buses ran $7.22 a mile. We expect that to go down dramatically with the change in our infrastructure and the way it's going to work. So if you have questions about that, as I said, it's just an update from the October forecast. Nothing earth shaking. We're still, tomorrow I'll be listening to a webinar on the budget bill, and pretty much looking like flatlined as far as state funding for the next 2 years. So if we can keep an increase in the school district income tax, that should be a positive. The other thing that I would like to bring to your attention tonight, we are working on a preschool grant, an early childhood education grant that we have not had before. And we're trying to work, Mr. Hurst was involved with a call today, and we were talking about it. I'll work in conjunction with Head Start, trying to increase educational opportunities for those students that are eventually going to be in our kindergarten. So the main thing is to hone in on some educational skills that Mrs. Levy feels like could make them better as they transition into the school district, and help eventually them getting a better start in life. And the last thing I was going to bring to your attention is that we have increased our Medicaid funding by having more of our services under the realm of a situation where we can bill back for those costs. And as we've improved that, we've improved the amount of money we're getting into the district. So it's been kind of an interesting process getting us where we are, but it has increased our funds quite a lot. I just got, looks like another 35,000 will be coming our way very shortly. We received tens of thousands with this, and I think it's going to be a very positive thing for the overall funding of the district as we move forward. And that's all I have tonight.
Great. Any questions?
Dr. Swab,
Yes,
sorry, I do have one more thing, I totally forgot, and I don't even think I told you guys this, because we just found out last week. But Izzy Hamilton is getting the OHSA Scholar Athlete Scholarship. It's $1,000. We're able to, recommend 2 students every year, 2 seniors every year, and I've done it. They did not give out scholarships COVID year, but every other year, in my year at Mrs. Cinnamon, never had a kid get it before. So there's only 30 kids in the Southwest District that they give the $1,000 to, and Izzy's one of them. So we have a banquet on Thursday where she gets to accept that.
Congratulations.
That's
So I was
great.
really excited for her.
Absolutely. Good news, great. Any, do we have any public participation? Didn't have any
0.
requests?
Nope.
So the next item for us to consider is the financial reports from the treasurer, which is items 1 through 21. And Carla will give us an overview of those.
Okay, number 1 being the financial journal, number 2 being the check register, list of then and now certification of bills that were obligated by employees of the district. Number 4 are various transfers and advances for the month, and as I said, that's as a result of the changes in some of our funding with grant sources from the outside. We have recommended approval of permanent appropriations, which will be for the end of the year, and then a creation of temporary appropriations for the year ended June 30th, 2024. We have a change to our credit limit with US Bank Platinum Card. We have the class of 23 donating their balance to the new stadium project to include funding for the flagpole and signage of Noah Hellman. We are recommending approval of starting a memorial scholarship in Great Hale's honor. We recommend approval of an agreement for limited information processing services with Management Council, OECN. Recommend acceptance of a donation of a wheelchair received from Wayne Healthcare Foundation. Recommend acceptance of the following donation to be used for the Great Hale Scholarship Fund as they are listed, and they are numerous because he was very loved. Recommend acceptance of a donation from Joe Reck in the amount of $1,000 for the Chad Nolan Scholarship Fund. Recommend acceptance of a donation from Bethany Espich in the amount of $50 for the National Honor Society. Recommend acceptance of the Ohio Attorney General's fiscal year 23 school safety grant in the amount of $2637.76. Recommend approval of an engagement with the Ohio Auditor State for conversion software. Recommend acceptance of a grant from AES Ohio for EV chargers for up to $65,709.89 and fast chargers and level 2 chargers for $3555.34. Recommend the approval to apply for the early childhood education grant to receive $4,000 per slot to serve children in high quality part-day preschool programming, and recommend the following amounts to be applied for the continuous consolidated improvement plan. Recommend a contract with K-12 Business Consulting for the Ohio 5-year forecast customer agreement, and recommend a hold harmless agreement for indemnification as a result of the sale of the district duct tank in an as-is condition in the amount of $500.
We have a motion to approve the items presented.
So moved.
Thanks, Holly. And a second?
You said,
Thanks. Trey. Yeah, any discussions or questions?
I don't think we're $500.
We paid $500.
Did you find somebody to pay you $500?
We did. Believe it or not.
Congratulations.
We had somebody say, hey, would you want to lend us the dump tank or rent it to us or something like that? And we said, well, sure, but if you want to buy it as $500, we were willing to sell it.
Right.
And they asked how much, and we said $500. Like, heck yeah, we'll buy it. So why not? And we put in the clause that we can borrow it anytime we need. So they're going to take it, store it, keep it,
Better.
pay for insurance, and we'll still use it from time to time. So,
Yeah, it sounds like.
Actually,
Win-win is what I
like
call
once or
that.
twice a year.
It may have a different emblem on it instead of Bradford something in front, but.
Get you wet.
We'll put up a banner if we need to.
Any other questions? If none, roll call for approval.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
And we have no old business or new business. We have 35 items to approve. And Joe, give us kind of a high-level overview of what we'll be approving.
Definitely. With that many, I'll just hit the high points. 1H was kind of a weird one with a memorandum of understanding for a new class that we're going to have called Mathematical Modeling and Reasoning. And the Educational Service Center of Central Ohio is going to give us a grant to pay for training of that teacher. So we are creating a supplemental for that, just for that teacher and that teacher only. Number 3, Pay Schools is the group we use to help our students go through the lunch line and use their lunch accounts. It also gives us the opportunity for parents to use credit cards for paying online for their children's accounts or even other things. So Pay Schools is a great thing for that. I'm going to jump down to number 12. We've got a memorandum of understanding of new creations to continue our mental health counseling 3 days a week. The price is still very affordable for that. Number 14, we've got handbooks there for the teacher handbooks, substitute teachers, the students for all elementary to high school. Number 17, I want to jump to. This is this is a resolution to join the EPC in purchasing a bus bidding package. This does not tie us to a bus, but you'll see one of the last resolutions here is to apply for another grant. So if we get the grant and the bus is virtually no cost to the district or low cost to the district, we will purchase another bus this next year. And we are hoping that's another EV. Number 18, we've got accidental life insurance again through Gerber, which helps all of our students if they have a broken ankle or a sprained wrist from gym or football or whatever it may be. This insurance will help them out without having to use their family insurance. Number 19 is an exciting one. That's the one I was talking about where we're going to start interviewing engineers and architects for the new project or the new next phase of the project. The blizzard bags is the same as what we used last year. We have to call blizzard bags for the state to qualify for that, but they'll only be used after potential makeup days before March testing if we have excessive amounts of calamity days. I want to jump down to number 29. There's been discussion about selling our batwing mower and tractor. In order to incorporate an even opportunity for people to do this, we're going to have to do sealed bids and give 30-day notice. So if anybody in the public wants to buy that tractor and batwing, we're going to sell it as a unit, and we'll open those sealed bids up in late July, not earlier than 30 days out. Next page number 34, we've got a great problem to have where we don't have enough helmets and shoulder pads for our football team. So we are buying more of those to equip our 37 high school varsities and 26 junior highs is what we had. So those numbers we don't expect to be completely there. We figured they dwindled down, but they're holding pretty darn solid.
They are holding very solid.
And 2 of the new enrollments, the open enrollments that are brand new this year, are wanting to play football. So great problems to have. So that being said, that's the end of the consent agenda. I'll finish up the rest of them when we get past this part.
A motion to approve the presented items. Thanks, Scott. And I will second. Any discussions or further questions for Joe about the items to approve? Hearing none, roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker,
Yes.
The next item is item 36, approving Peggy Manuel for a substitute teacher for the summer school program at a rate of $20 an hour. A motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Then roll call for approval.
Mr. Manuel,
Abstain.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
And so for the next items 37 through 41. Joe, you want to give us a quick
Sure.
overview?
Number 37 through 39 are asphalt and electrical projects. We want to pave the new access road back here with the top coat, along with the top coating along the bus area out there that's jagged right now down to basically just the base coat that's there now. The seal coating for the other lots, and then 39 will be the additional charge for the upgrade on one more charging port in the bus barn, thanks to the AES grant that we're getting for another DC charger. Number 40 is kind of an exciting one. We've got one van in the school district right now that we purchased in 2018, and it is being utilized every day with many miles on it, transporting our kids to our collaborative units around Dark County. We haven't been able to utilize the van for any field trips, and next year we're looking at another student that goes to Franklin Monroe instead of North Update and Sony and Mississinawa. So we're worried about having enough transportation seating for that. So Carla has found grant money for a lot of this, and as of just a couple days ago, we think we found enough grant money to close the gap between a gas van and an electric van. So if everything goes well, right now we've got 2 bids out there, 2 quotes, I should say, for electric vans that are on the lot, as opposed to a gas van that we would have to wait a year to get. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer, knowing that the grant money's there and it's an immediate piece, and we have the infrastructure to get it. I'm hoping all this works out. So we've got a few loose ends to tie up, but we're hoping we get a new van here shortly that will be electric. And then 41, we're going to replace the batwing with a new zero turn. If we get the batwing sold without trading it in, we can go to any kind, and Skip really likes the X-Mark, so we'll see what happens, but it won't exceed this, but we expect it to be much less than that. So that's the next agenda item.
And a motion to approve the presented items.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Thanks, Holly. Any discussion or questions on items 37 through 40?
Is our bus barn, is there room in there to charge a van?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, right now, we've got 7 bays, 6 buses, and, well, potentially 2 vans. If we do that, we'll have to park the vans end to end in one of those bays, but we will have enough charging infrastructure and everything else to go with it.
Good.
Yep.
So does the grant, it brings the electric down to the price of the gas? Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes, but what I've read right now, the newest part of that grant, or newest third grant that will couple all together, will fill that gap between electric and gas. So, yep. Up to $40,000, and this is less than $40,000. It's a 30,000.
30,155 is what I want.
Just a little more than 30,000 upgrade to go from gas to electric. So, good.
Any other questions? None, roll call for approval.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
Next item is item 42. Release the elementary secretary is retiring effective August 31st, 2023. That shall be entitled during the month of August to 10 days per diem pay in order to train the new secretary. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second. Thank you, Scott. Either Scott would be fine. Yep. And any discussions or questions?
Yeah, let me explain real quick why this is so many days. We typically look at something and say 5 days is a typical transitionary time. Rita has been gracious enough to say she wants to come in, she wants to help, she wants to do all these things, and she doesn't necessarily need to work all that time in August before her retirement on the 31st. So we said 10 days would make a lot of sense. During that time, she could have that 5 days to help the new secretary come in, and also sit in that same chair while the new secretary goes back to the media center and trains the other gal for 5 days or up to 5 days. So 10 days seems like a lot, but there is logic to our madness.
Sense. Any other questions? None, roll call for approval?
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Abstain.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
Next item is to consider the second and final reading of the policies that are listed on page 12 and 13. Do we have any, do we have a motion to approve? In a second? You want? I'll take it. Any discussion, questions, or clarifications regarding those? None? Hearing none, then roll call for approval, please.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
Next item is to enter executive session for item G1 on our agenda. Motion to approve that.
So moved.
In a second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Trey. And roll call for entering executive session.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
Entering executive session at 6:57,
6:57?
and there'll be no voting or decisions made after the executive session. Thanks everybody for coming. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Chloe, what company are you guys doing for the video? I read somewhere.
Huddle.
Is that the one that's kind of everybody uses?
Yes, it's awesome. And actually tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go out with Skip and Cody and get the measurements and everything. So they can
It was
do
pretty
that.
cool. There were some games. I couldn't get to the way games. I was like, that's kind of nice.
It is nice.
And I mean, nice because people can pay. Probably wouldn't normally do it. People who want to socialize.
Yes.
Exactly. When I had Jared Hazel at the softball game talk to me for 30 minutes about how he was really upset that we don't have an option, because he's a all.
Right, so those people would be paying,
Mhm.
all the travelers,
Exactly.
and so we get a chunk of that.
I think we get a decent chunk. We get like 60% out of this one. Whereas the NFHS, we were only getting like 30% if we went with them. And you're locked into a really strict contract with them, and I didn't really like that.
That's the dream, just some English schools use that.
Yes.
The boys have all games and they were at a game.
Yeah. Yeah,
Or
it's,
the Parkway, what are they like?
Huddle just gives so many more options that benefit the kids and the coaches. It just made more sense. It's more expensive, but you're not locked into any contracts. You can choose to stream or not. You can choose what prices to charge. There's a minimum, but you can go up if you want to. There's just a lot more freedom with
And
it.
the crazy is the automated.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's like,
I
the
can
ball goes
tell
over
kids
here,
get
it
them
goes
in.
over there, the ball goes over there, it's like,
Yeah.
holy.
And that camera works better, according to everybody that I talked to, than the NFHS, because that one stalls out a lot.
Yeah.
And you can never get a hold of any IT person.
Right, and having the score would be cool.
Yes, it's on there.
Yeah, it's like-
It's on there.
I don't know what game was watching.
Nobody has a clue what's going on, yeah.
My computer is rebooting, but I've got these all really gonna go through as soon as I come back from
Yeah,
executive
and I
session, I'll
completely
push
agree.
those POs through, so you'll have your PO numbers.
So I can call Steve Arns and say, order my helmets.
Yes.
That's a good thing to have.
I know,
Can you
it's a
believe
great
we were
problem.
just about ready to exit completely?
I know.
You just kind of put a score.
And we did pick up a
Hey, you
couple
too.
meetings, so we have
Thanks.
almost a full schedule, but not quite.
Is this our last year of varsity?
Most of varsity, here we are, and we picked up a couple of non-conference games. That's what I said. We have like 2 or 3 gaps where if we're doing well numbers wise and we're healthy, we can pick up a JV team that week pretty easily,
And the new
so
facility's not.
it's not hurting them. It's not hurting
They will
anything.
come, right?
Right.
Absolutely. We're going that way.
Oh, yeah.
Is our meeting at 10 tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay.
Talk to Chloe about it.
I couldn't remember what time. Thank you guys, see you later.
So, how did we get?
It was good.
Was it fun?
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was good. It was good.
Sounds like coming in a lot hotter than what you
Oh, I
want.
know.
It's like an airplane.
How you get done?
How do you do?
Yeah, you're out.
Why don't we just start school in January and then December?
You don't have to.
Be a trendsetter.
We're currently out of executive session. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
And a second. Thanks. Roll call for adjournment, please.
Mr. Manuel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Swab,
Yes.
Mr. Bisecker.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, for their time.
Does anybody ever abstain on something like that?
I was gonna say no one time.
Just cause.
One of those are like 10 o'clock meetings and you're like,
Oh,
Yeah.
got him.
no,
Larry Tyler-
I wanna stay later. I don't wanna go home. It's only 10.
When Larry Thompson was still working here, and this was way back when, we have a boosters meeting, I think boosters meeting, he attended. He'd vote no on everything, just cause trouble.
Somebody has to vote no, right?
That's what the reason Maria wasn't here. They won't go on record as voting against.
No, she's on my
I
current.
don't know, you could ask her that one.
No, I think she's in Atlanta with, I think that's with her students.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. She's on a trip with her.
Yeah, she's on,
That's exactly right.
she's out on an event with her school.